Hey, what's up guys? It's C-Works. I'm here today with my first hot lap tutorial. This one's for Willow Springs, specifically in the Ferrari GT3. My all-time best lap on this track so far is a 13.7, optimal being a 13.2, somewhere around there. I'm just here today to give you guys a few tips and tricks to improving your speed on a track like Willow Springs. It was a little bit tricky for me to learn at first, and some others that I've talked to as well. But I'm hoping that after you watch this video that you can at least be within, a half a second of the lap time that I was able to run and maybe beat mine as well. So the trickiest part that I've found about this track is that it's hard to pick braking points because there's not the track markers on the side of the track, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So you kind of have to pick some landmarks, or just you really have to have a good understanding of how your car brakes and how it, just a general idea of how to come into a corner with that specific car. And if you've driven it enough, chances are you probably already have a feel for it. So really for me to learn this track, it was just a lot of trial and error. Braking too late, braking too early, and then eventually you find kind of the sweet spot right in the middle, and you can just kind of advance yourself from that point. Some other key points for this track that I would say, you have to carry a lot of roll speed. A lot of times in a GT3 specifically, you're hard braking, you're trail braking, you're turning, and you're hammering the throttle. For this track, I would say it's probably one of the most important tracks to just carry roll speed through these corners and just carry that momentum throughout, because there's a lot of long sweepers that are really deceiving in a way. People just want to slam on the brakes, point and shoot and get right back on the gas. That's the general gist of what a lot of people do in this car, specifically, being a D-Class series. So a few key points I wanted to point out were: pick a landmark for your braking point, carry a lot of roll speed, maybe downshift a little bit later, carry some more speed into the corner, and use some trail braking to put some weight on the front of that car and allow it to turn when you want it to. So yeah, let's just do a ride along. This lap right here was a 13.9. Like I said, I've ran a 13.7, but I just hopped on here, did a few laps for video purposes. So yeah, I'm gonna let you guys watch this. I'll shut up for a minute, and then I'll give you a few tips and tricks for how I accomplished this lap. All right, so coming into turn one, you know, as I said, it's really hard to find your braking points on this track. There's not track markers. So you really have to use the landscape and some of the objects around you relative to where your car's at and certain things that you can kind of line up and pick as your braking points. For me, right as this green wall is about to disappear behind this part of my roll cage, that's about when I get on the brakes. And you want to be in fourth gear in this turn. Don't downshift to third. That'll absolutely kill your momentum. So yeah, let's see it right here. Green wall's about to disappear. Bam. Okay, 50% braking right away. Down to fourth gear and tail it off and use a little bit of trail braking to be able to pivot and make this corner. Use all the exit. Okay, this is a super important turn on this track, okay? What I see a lot of people doing is they're carrying speed into the corner. They get on the brakes. They downshift way too early into fourth. And before you know it, they're not going anywhere through this corner. This track, you really have to roll and carry momentum and keep all the traction possible in your tires because you're going so fast around some of these turns. So what I do, I'm in fifth gear, let off the gas somewhere in this area. You're just going to have to play with it and see where the sweet spot is for you. And I lightly tap the brakes just to get it to pivot a little bit. Still not down in fourth gear. I'm still in fifth gear right now. Right there, I downshift about in the middle of the corner. Still coasting. Right about here, you can start accelerating. And so on the exit of this turn, when you're going from fourth to fifth, I've experimented with short shifting it to fifth, and I've experimented with revving it out in fourth and shifting to fifth a little bit later. They're pretty similar. I haven't seen a whole lot of difference. So that's really just preference. I would say later in the race, if your tires are going away, I would say short shift it to fifth just to keep the RPMs low and more traction in your tires. So this is a turn that you can really make up a lot of time. My suggestions for this turn is right as this barrel... Let me take a step back here. Our field of views are very different, I'm sure, on our monitors and our setup for iRacing. So I can't guarantee that these braking points that I'm using are going to work for you. I'm just strictly telling you what I use and how I go about finding a braking point when there's no track markers on the side of the track. For me, it's about when this barrel hits this roll cage. It's about when I get on the brakes here. Right there. So right as it hits that roll cage, that's when I'm on the brakes, about 50% braking, down to third gear. This, you don't have to worry about it. You can downshift right to third gear, and it honestly helps you slow down for the corner and pivot your car. Use a lot of trail braking in this corner. You want to hit 50% braking and then slowly let that off, allowing the car to pivot. Use up all of this exit, okay? Going into the switchback, this next turn is such a late apex turn that if you eat up the inside of this, the entrance of this turn, it'll allow you to really make a nice arc and around and catch that late apex out here. So don't be afraid to use that up. Normally, you would never do this, obviously, but in this scenario, how this turn is shaped, use up all that track, come in tight, and be wide through the middle of this turn up until the exit. Come in real tight, not a lot of braking, just feathering it, coasting. I got on the gas a little bit earlier than I should have here, which kind of killed me because I had to get back off the gas. So I would say I got on the gas here, but I probably should have waited till about here, and then I could have just absolutely landed on the pedal to catch this apex. It's a very deceiving corner, so don't be afraid to experiment and use up all of this exit, man. You really got to carry your speed on this track to go fast. Coming to this next apex, or this next switchback, this might be the toughest corner on the track. It was for me learning the track. But my breaking point here is right at the start of this rumble strip, or this curb, whatever you want to call it, coming into this left-hander. And I go down to third gear here. Once again, about 50% braking. Allow the car to pivot. And it's all out from here. One more thing right here. You really want to exaggerate this. You know, you don't have to go as wide as I did necessarily. But when you swoop back left to go right, you got to exaggerate that and get yourself as much real estate as possible to accelerate through this next turn. See, I'm still going left here. So you gotta use up the track and exaggerate it. It's pretty self-explanatory through here. Drift wide. Okay, so this turn, last turn on the track, it's very key to carry a lot of speed through this corner, because if you don't, and you're going down the start finish straight, it's gonna kill you if you don't carry enough speed through here. You know, just even in practice sessions, this is where I can make up a lot of time on guys who don't quite know how to carry the speed through this corner. And this is another one where you want to downshift as late as possible. You know, natural instinct is to get on the brakes and downshift immediately, right? But here, you can really afford to just lightly brake, coast in sixth gear, and then as you're ready to pivot the car and hit the apex of the exit of the turn, that's when you downshift to fifth and accelerate. Very light trail braking coming into here. I would say about right here. I braked a little bit too heavy on this lap when it kind of killed me. So yeah, don't mimic my braking point in this corner, or at least the amount of brake force that I applied. But definitely use a little bit of trail braking just to allow the car to turn. See, this is way too much. Way too much. Should have been about 15 to 20%, I would say. This absolutely killed me in this turn, but it still turned out okay. 13.9 isn't too bad. So yeah. Sixth gear. I see I'm just now shifting down to fifth, like basically in the middle of this turn. Drift wide. They can really use up the exit of this turn. Look at this right here. Look how much real estate is over here to be used. There's no curb, so be careful. But if you're on a hot lap, man, you could really afford to come wide here. You know, there's no hurry to get back to the right side of the track. So really use this up. You can carry a lot of speed through here, man, and make up a lot of time on people, okay? So this turn is very key, as well as that one on top of the hill that I was referring to earlier as one of the trickier turns. So yeah. There you have it. That's how to do a 13.9 on Willow Springs in the Ferrari GT3 car. This is my first hot lap video, so let me know if I did a terrible job at explaining things or if I helped you out a little bit, okay? Also, if you beat my lap, congratulations. Let me know, man. I'm not the fastest guy in the world, but man, I feel really comfortable on this track. Comfortable enough to make a video about it, so let me know what you think. Let me know your lap times, and don't forget to like and sub. Appreciate you guys.
Made it through the struggle, got it off the muscle. Wanted Gucci on my buckle, so I had